What's going on, everybody? Welcome to tonight's Boom Talk. It's been a while since we Boom Talk chat. It's been a while. We obviously got Scully and Martin on the face cams tonight. What's going on, fellas? Yeah. Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. Obviously, Boom Talk's your baby as well as that, so... Who can't hit? Oh, no, sorry. Easy fix. One sec. Voice chat. Okay, say something now.
All right, can you guys hear us now?
There you are.
Is that better?
That's better. They can hear you now.
All right. Well, I see what you're doing there, Aaron. Getting me and Martin on here and just, no.
Yeah, just mute you out. No one wants to hear from you two.
Well, we're only here for our star status, Scully.
Not that.
You're only here for the clout. You're just here for the clout. That's what it is.
Oh, clout chasing all day, fellas.
All day.
I mean, unless anybody in the chat is able to was able to read lips. Honestly, all we were saying was just. Good to be here. Good topic of conversation. Shout out to Martin, Aaron, the Boom Beach Tactics Forum and Recruitment Group, and just really happy to be back with another Boom Talk and, just seeing what the community sees about it and feels about the intel.
For sure. I mean, there's been so many people who complain about it. I mean, I know Thursdays are like probably the worst day.
I wonder why.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. We wonder why. And we've been told how many times by the powers that be, oh yeah, no, we will look at that. We might, we're looking into it. We'll consider it, and nothing ever changes, does it? But Intel chat, how many of you out there are in task forces right now who struggle for Intel? Hands in chat, have you ever struggled for Intel in your task force? It's the Holy Trinity, Bull, Ice, and Scully.
I just realized we didn't even roll call here. Can I?
Go for it.
Get a quick head start here.
Go.
Obviously, we got BBTFRG #1 there. Big shout out to these fellas here. And of course, Ryan, #1 with the thumbs up after Aaron. Digging it. Severance, how are you, buddy? Welcome to the live stream there. Bumblebee, yes, we are still playing this game, and I know you are too. Clash fan, how are you, buddy? Welcome to the live stream today. AJ Tony, good to see you. Who's Intel? Exactly. Lee Ellis, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the live stream today. We do have a Mr. Olsen sighting as well. Big shout out to you, buddy. I did see that you were killing it earlier with a Warships stream there. Abdu Imam, how are you, my man? Junie, good evening to you as well. Andro, happy birthday. How are you? Big shout out to Sadie as well. And Flint, drop the like. We'll be listening in the background. Wishing everyone a happy Sunday and lots of win streaks. You know what, buddy? Right back at you, Flint. Big shout out to you. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Gira Gross X. How are you, my friend? Welcome.
Philip Shaw. I would have.
And you know what, Aaron? I put your names like there's no tomorrow, so yeah. I'll take it. Philip, I see you peeking in there. What is up, my man? Shubham, very good to see you. Yay, I am finally live on Boom Talk. Buddy, we're happy to have you in the chat here on Boom Talk today. Radical, good to see you. Phase Shift, what's going on? Mr. Dole, welcome, my friend. K. Lucas, I can only hear Aaron. That's right, we did fix that issue. Chris Glazer, what's up, buddy? Mr. Plong, very good to see you. And I did see Surreal there. What's up, Surreal? Welcome. Captain Black Adder, Posse, Abdullah Makeem, Fezman, Michael Wells. We got a Pang sighting as well. Moist Toast.
What's up,
and
Pang?
I believe we got everybody. RTT.
RTT, yep. Martin, read your messages. Moist Toast, you and me both birds of caps. So yeah, chat. Intel in the game has been one of those things that has been debated for a long time. I know so many people would just love to see Intel removed from the game altogether. Just straight up get rid of it.
How would we start operations without Intel?
I mean, somebody said in chat earlier about making people pay diamonds, but I'm not... ban that person right now. But yeah, a lot of people would just like to see it gone altogether, but I'm not for that. I think Intel serves a good purpose for, encouraging people to play the main base, isn't it? That's like the whole point of Intel is to encourage you to go out and raid. Even if you're max player, you still need to go and raid for Intel and shards and stuff. So I think it does a good role. It's got a good purpose, but I think everybody can probably agree that the main problem right now with Intel is the fact that the game has had so many updates where offense has been boosted, but the drop rates of Intel haven't been boosted as well. They're still the same. So you got people who are in task forces, they might have gone up like, say, 2 or 3 operation levels in there, say 10-man jumping from, say, stronghold to dead end, say, yeah? Which is probably what most 10 men are doing nowadays, right? 10-man dead end is pretty common these days.
In my 10-man, my OG20 task force is a 10-man, and we literally will alternate between choke point and stronghold. We don't even, attempt dead end on the daily.
No, a lot.
It's too much.
I got so much intel, £5 for 20.
Well, what you're doing
weekend.
What you're doing so far is explaining the life of total scopers.
Yeah, well, it's total scopers, and there's a lot of other teams out there as well. There's thousands of people out there who have said similar things, that they've moved up operation levels because the game has got so easy, because they've got extra statues, they've got new extra troop levels, all that kind of stuff. They got new troops with better troops and things like that. The birth of the crab account with monthly mega crab, the crab account has played a factor as well. So people have moved up operation levels, but to counter that, they haven't increased the drop rates on Intel to make that jump feasible for the daily Intel grinders. You're now needing a lot more Intel to do daily ops for these high level operations, but you can't earn that, without playing extra hard or dumper accounts or, grinding your absolute heart out for Intel to do dailies because you want to do it at a challenging or a competitive level, Would you agree, chat? Anybody out there experiencing that? I know we experienced. Yeah. Well, you guys had it in Scopers, didn't you, Ryan?
Yeah. I mean that principally is it. I mean, I loosely worked it out, and 230 intel per op. So that's obviously 23 intel per team member per day. Now, if you break that down and say the average player is below 1100 VP, but high enough to get 3 intel. Mm-hmm. So there's 3 from the box and 3 from the chest. And if they play warships, there's another 3 there. That's 9. So that leaves you 14 to find through base raiding. Now, if you said that the intel drop rate on a NPC is 25% and a PvP is 50%.
That's right.
Which gives you an average drop rate of 33%.
Is that factoring in, Martin, like clearing your map and having the daily event removed from your map as well? Because I know with regards to your radar on your map, when you clear your map, the percentage does go up for either a Blackguard invasion or an NPC invasion. So is that 25 and 50% factored into when your map is already fully cleared?
That would be, I haven't dug deep into this. This was something that I worked out on the loo at work one day when I was trying to work out why we were struggling for intel. It's one of those moments. I haven't dug deep into it. So working on the principle that your base is clear, you need 14 intel a day off map clearing. Mm-hmm. Just off map clearing.
Yeah. So
if you're working on a drop rate of intel of 33%. That means you're going to need 42 bases on your map so that 1/3 of them drops intel. It doesn't always work like that because
it's down the chance.
How many times have you? Each one is an individual chance, but realistically, to gain 14 intel from bases on your map, based on experience, what do you reckon? 25, 26 bases?
Pangs just said map clearing twice. Pangs just said map clearing twice a day should give you about 12 NPC and 12 PvP spawns. But we all know that isn't actually how it works, because how many people are VP pushing and don't get anywhere near that?
I've attempted it multiple times.
Yeah.
I always cap out around the 1200 VP mark. But then again, I don't push with any ice. I know some players have made it up to like 1500 VP without any ice. But then I also wanted to touch on, like when Martin was mentioning how, getting the percentage of either, a player base or an NPC spawning on your map, 42, that's ridiculous. We also have to factor in defensive intel, because I know that also does play a massive part. And like your base, you don't even have to have ice on your layout. I mean, if you just have, boom cannons, just the good defense set up in a way where, you're going to pick off a few of the enemies to pull in intel, that's also good. Because I know on my main account, Skull Crusher, which does happen to be over 1100 VP, I think I'm like 1130 or 1140 right now, I'll easily pull in like 5 or 6 intel a day just on defense. And then, I get 4 a day from my daily chest. So, that's 8 right there. Let's say I go around and, collect to destroy all my NPCs, might get another 3 or 4 from that. That's on the low end. So, we're at 12, then I collect my daily chest and, that's another 4 right there. So, I mean, even without attacking a single player base, I can easily pull in 15 intel a day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And if every player in the task force was you, Scully, or the sort of player that does that daily, but the trouble now, I think that obviously during lockdown, I think we all had a lot more time to play, so we all got used to doing a bit more map clearing, earning a bit more intel. Life's now gone back to normal. People have got less time to do the things like boom. They still want to carry on playing it, and so there's not that time to do that twice a day map clear. Sometimes you've only got time to, jump on and
just burn the NPCs, like
burn the NPCs, and so that's great. If you've got 10 committed players who are doing their map, even if they're doing their map, all doing their map once a day, all doing warships, all doing the daily event, then you're going to bring in 230 intel a day, with it building up enough to cover you for the Thursday's daily event shortfall. And then obviously Crab and Warships builds that up a bit more.
Crab and Warships, I think, are the other, not so much issue, but they skew the balance of intel, spreading it out across the month. Because
that was something else we noticed, wasn't it? The amount of people that moan about intel in that final week.
In the final week of Warships, when people are starting to park, team members are now starting to park on Warships, so there's not that Warships intel coming in. Maybe they're not logging in as much, maybe they're not doing the map clearing and stuff as much at the end of the month, which is when, people tend to struggle most. It's the last week of Warships and the dead week, isn't it?
Can I just jump in a sec? I've just noticed we've got a K Lucas sighting in the chat.
We have got K Lucas in the chat. What's happening, K? Been a while.
How are you, Kay? How are you? Yeah, I haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're well. I was just looking through the chat there, and there's a sort of fair few people saying about, certainly Mr. Poing was the reason that he left Scopers, and maybe we just
Darren Fletcher has a fair point. All those running multiple accounts are quids in. The rest of us who don't are at a massive disadvantage. It's a fact. Not sure how you can get that addressed. That's the thing. If you haven't got, if you want to run higher level operations now, you need dumper accounts. A lot of people start second accounts, third accounts, 4 accounts just to get that daily intel from the daily chest, just so they can cycle in the accounts. But yeah, that's just the way it is. Like, there isn't much you can do about it, unfortunately. But
and just if I can just touch on that for a moment, Aaron, because I've pushed in a few leaderboard task forces, 5 and 10 man. Never have gotten to number 1. I think in the 10 man we got up to about the mid 30s. In the 5 man, I believe we also broke about the mid 30s. But I mean, I was playing with players, like Savage, like Tom, Six, and these are all players that have multiple accounts, and we're not talking, just a handful. We're like the dumper accounts where you actually need to bring in account after account after account after account. I mean, like, I thought I was doing well, getting my, 12, 15 intel a day. These guys are single-handedly making sure that this task force is getting, 30, 40 intel a day, from just those accounts. It's insane.
Just the extra
level. It's insane the level you have to go to if you are committed. And that's the other thing. If you're committed, most players now are casual. They're not clearing their map twice a day. They're not super intense on operations where they're making sure they're climbing that leaderboard. So it is a little bit more relaxed. But then when you do play with like the small percentage of Boom Beach players that are in it to win it, it's a whole other ball game. Like, you know, I think I got away with a few things just because, you know, I was Skull Crusher. You know, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but of course, you know, busy with work and with streams and this and that. So, you know, they always just kind of turned a little bit of a blind eye, you know, the fact that I was bringing in a little bit less. But I knew that me bringing in less was always, you know, a contributing factor that was hurting the task force. So, like, everybody has to pull equal weight, you know, if you want to see it succeed. And like, again, it's...
That was just like me and Scopers, because I'm not a massive operations lover anyway, and I sure as hell don't like map clearing. I hate it. So, you know, I know a lot of other places, a lot of other players in the position now where they can't be bothered with map clearing because, you know, they're maxed out.
Most players hate it, dude.
You know, it is a chore. It is an absolute chore having to map clear. Once you're maxed out and, you know, you've got a couple of thousand powder banked and a few thousand diamonds, and the only thing you get from map clearing is intel, it's kind of pointless, you know. But I think, you know, look, Surreal says for info, a dump account brings in around 70 intel without actually playing. That's just from like a daily chest, VP chest, that sort of thing.
And defensive intel on top of that,
defensive intel and that sort of thing.
Well, you wouldn't get the defensive intel from a dumper account, would you?
No.
Okay, yeah, probably not for the most part.
But then, you know...
But see, we talk about defensive intel. I think defensive intel is going to be... I mean, I did sort of say the stream would be about, you know, what the problems are and maybe some solutions to earning a few extra intel. How do you guys feel about this? I'm going to be really, really controversial. And I'm going to say, throw down a couple of ice statues. Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. Listen. Whoa. Before you lynch
Who
me.
Who is this imposter?
Before you lynch me, let me speak.
Shh. What have you done with Aaron?
What have you done with Aaron?
Aaron's been kidnapped. I'm going to get hold of Beast. Hold on.
Just going to get hold of Candy.
You call 911, Scully.
Why is that so funny? That's great.
Before you kick me from the stream, right? Listen. We've had so many updates. We've had so many updates now where we've had new statues added in. Let's change...
Sorry, what's that, icebreaker?
Ice layer. Ice
layer, there you
booster. Ice booster. Yeah, you know, we've had a couple of updates where we unsubscribing and leaving if Aaron just said drop ice statues.
I was just going to read that.
You watch our sub count just go down to like 4,000 now, watch.
I mean, on a serious note, and all jokes aside, I continue, Aaron, absolutely.
The few updates that we've had where we've been given extra statues, we didn't need those extra statues beforehand, right? They're not like a huge game changer. They're not what's making the game like super overpowered as such. So why not just change one of the offensive statues to a building health or a defensive building damage to earn an extra couple of intel every day from those raids? Obviously, lower VP players it's going to work better for. Obviously, the higher VP you go, the more experienced players you're going to find it's not going to be as effective. But with a good layout and just one or two ice statues just thrown in the back there, just hide them in your trees. Nobody have to know they're there. Just hide them in the trees, you know?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Has anyone ever thought of that before?
I know, right?
Actually, well, I mean, it's not like players are going around and counting your statues to make sure you don't have ice. If I saw like 10 statues like in a formation and two ice were hiding in the trees, I wouldn't think to myself, oh, he's got ice in the trees. So I do think that's a good idea. And if you really want to take it to the next level, Aaron, I don't know how most players feel about the shield generator, but just throw a shield generator on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it. You know, hide them in the trees in the snow, yeah. How dare you all have out me. Aaron, as a fellow crowd pusher, how can you contemplate ice statues? I'm looking at it from an operation player's point of view, right? Looking at it from
you know what?
For the teams that are struggling for intel throughout the month, maybe a couple of accounts, you know, sacrificing a couple of offensive statues and swapping it in for ice would help counter that lack of intel. That's like my thinking, you know? That's just what I'm thinking. I'm not saying that everybody should go out there and just crush, you know, go full ice, just need the intel for it, you know, but even if it brings in an extra 10 intel, you know, 10 intel a week, 3 or 4 players doing that in a 25-man, that's, you know, that could be the difference between daily ops and not for a lot of teams.
I mean, Aaron, you've got a point, and you would need all players in the task force to obviously agree on that and be like, "Hey, guys, you know,
on board,
let's up our intel. You know, if everybody places down an ice statue, there's a pretty good chance we can increase the percentage of bringing in more intel."
Yeah.
That's I don't want to say that's an easy solution, but it's a solution that will work over time.
Yeah, Caps. Too much warship streaming, and Aaron's lost his marbles.
All right, that's it, Aaron. No more warships. No.
Yeah, I'm done. I'll pack it in right now. Parked, done.
Scully, when you do your daily map clear, not your, like on stream, when you do your your average day, you're not streaming, just a normal day. What do you clear with?
Warriors or Scorchers, and it's honestly it's either one or the other. If I know that I'm going in for the operation and I'm gonna hit the op, I'll full boost, and if I'm full boosted, then I'll just go in with the Scorchers because it's super easy. I mean, literally at this point, if you're running a crab account, and my main account is a crab account, it's literally just drop Scorchers and just let them do their thing. And then of course, you know, I'll just clear my map and then I'll go hit the operation. If I'm not hitting the operation and I'm not boosting, then I just use Warriors. And, you know, a lot of the times I won't even fully clear my map, especially if there's a couple hard bases with shield generators or multiple ice statues. That's where the full boost will come in handy. But yeah, like I don't even use Zookas to clear my map anymore. I'm either A, Warrior, or B, Scorchers.
Whenever I do it, it's always Scorchers. I drop Scorchers and I close the game and I repeat that. that's map clear for me.
Do you have enough gunboat energy? Oh, sorry, just smashed my pop filter. Do you have enough GBE right off the bat to deploy all your Scorchers, or do you have to farm a little bit and then you can drop the rest?
I just boost my GBE statue and that's it. My one,
good man. All right,
because I've only got one GBE statue. I just boost that and I can drop 6 boats. 6 boats, 6 boats, force close. 6 boats, force close.
There you go. I don't even force close, but I mean that takes it to the next level. But just to touch on that, Martin, when I used to actually clear my map twice a day, and this goes back to what you were mentioning earlier when, you know, the pandemic was first kind of hitting, more people were at home, more time to boom, more time for whatever. You know, I was averaging, I believe, about 1200 VP. Now that I'm not clearing my map twice a day, and even when I do clear my map, you know, with Warriors, and if I'm not fully clearing it, my VP does drop a lot more. Like right now I'm at a point in the game where I'm not VP pushing, but I just want to make sure that I'm floating above 1100, and I think you know why.
Just for that extra two extra VP a day. Yeah,
that's exactly intel a day. That's exactly that. That's 14 extra intel a week. Now, Aaron, you're on about putting an ice statue down to gain an extra 10, 12 intel a week defensively. If you just do that, then you'll hold your VP over 1100. Then you're gaining an automatic force. But it's that extra time and commitment that takes to clear your map a couple of times a day. Out of interest, how many other people in the chat clear their map with just Scorchers? Or as Scully's just said, you know, Scorchers when they're boosted and then sort of Scorch Warriors on the easiest one. I reckon it's quite a lot of people. And those two attack methods are probably the safest for your troops. In terms of how many boosted Scorchers do you lose on a hit?
A couple, maybe. I mean, it's never perfect. I mean, I'm always going to lose a few.
No, of course. But a lot of those hits, you come back with no losses.
Yes.
And then there's no defensive intel.
Yeah.
So if we're all hitting each other's bases with boosted Scorchers, no one's dropping intel for each other.
But that's the thing. Not everybody is hitting with boosted Scorchers, because like when you were asking me that question, Martin, and I had to say that I have to boost first, and then because I can't fully deploy my Scorchers, I think I have 2 that are still left on the gunboat unless I farm additional gunboat energy, or like Aaron said, I just boost my my GBE masterpiece. It's a 42. I think it gives me just enough gunboat energy to do the full deployment.
That's it.
Yeah, I do exactly what you do, Skull. If I'm boosted to do the op, then it's full Scorchers all the way. If not, it's Warriors on the ones that are simple.
Yep.
You know, because some of what some of them are like, they've got 4 or 5 ice statues. The layouts.
2 shield generators, no thank you.
The layout's awkward. There's a lot of mines. It's all the way at the back. You haven't got the most amount of GBE. You certainly haven't got enough to do like 2 barrage clears and all that smoke, and then 3 shocks on a critters when you get up there. So you just go, I'll do it tomorrow when I'm boosted with Scorchers.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you say about not losing troops when you use Scorchers. I mean, I literally, like I said, I literally just boost my GBE statue, and then I just drop 6 boats and I close the game. Quite often I will lose, 2 or 3 boats worth whilst clearing maps. With instant training, I don't really care, I still get...
But you believe in ice, who listens to you?
How many times is this stream going to get clipped, me saying that now?
I at this point, Aaron, we've lost count.
Yeah.
Scully's just thinking this is shorts material for days.
Yeah.
Yo, it is. I mean, did you not see? I think it was only me right there. Not only me. Pretty much we're changing her name from Icebreaker to Ice Maker. Who said that? Right there. Fezman. Ice Maker instead of Icebreaker.
I changed it from Icebreaker to Ice Booster right there. It's official.
Oh, there we go.
It's official.
Ice Booster now.
Getting an exclamation mark ban Ice Booster now in the chat. I mean, just want to go back to someone in the chat real quick. Somebody brought something up I want to touch on. It was Sketch saying, no top leaderboard team will have a person with any ice. Well, that's a fair point. They wouldn't. But them top teams are going to have dumper accounts anyway.
There you go. Yeah, that counters that.
That part of leaderboard pushing, you got to have dumper accounts anyway. So they're not going to they're not going to have intel struggles. Like we're talking about, like the average Joe Bloggs' 25-man team, what's doing Forlorn Hope or whatever, but they're struggling to pay for it to do it daily. That's sort of where we're at. I think ICE should be considered at least. Maybe not. It's not going to be adopted by everybody because a lot of people are. Even me. I mean, as much as I'm suggesting it as a solution, I wouldn't personally do it because I like my all offensive statues. It's just, but if the teams are struggling, then maybe it is worth considering.
Just very quickly, yes, Mr. Dole. BBTFRG works in all Supercell games.
Yeah, it works in all Supercell games and Boom Beach Frontlines, which is Space 8. Wet Entrance, what a name. Hey everyone, Bull for future reference, can you turn your mic up, bud? I've had to turn my TV up max. It's not good in the morning with a hangover because not remembering to turn it down. Okay.
I guess we never asked how the audio was after we got that Martin.
Yeah, that's true.
After they were able to hear me, Martin.
I just turned my gain up a little bit. Is that any better?
Like Martin, you are like crystal clear in my head. Like it's like you're standing right beside me. So,
well, Scully, you sound like a choir in my head.
Love it.
Sketch come back for something. I missed it. Most players on our team have 20-ish dumpers, so I do get that. But you need the dumpers to compete and do sabotage. Exactly, that's the other thing. It's fine on our end. Cool. Sounds good.
And that's also like that's also a big difference between the I'm going to say the competitive players and
the casual
players, like players, especially with like the competitive players in the leaderboard task force is
we're dropping frames. We're dropping frames. Hang on, 2 seconds, guys. We're lagging because my internet's having a wobble. 2 seconds.
All right,
keep still. Don't move.
Hold that back.
Yeah, don't move.
Okay, nobody
freeze. 2 seconds.
I'm
2 seconds, chat. It'll sort itself out in a sec.
I'm stuck in a horrible spot. Looks like I'm having a seizure right now, boys. I'm really.
Yeah, we'll be back in 2 seconds. Once
try not to move at all. It's too funny.
Someone put 50p in the meter.
Audio as well, or someone go and give the hamster a kick.
Yeah, someone go kick the hamster into gear.
There we go. Let's go, buddy. Let's go.
Stupid internet. Absolute crap service. Yeah, it's buffering. Yeah, I know it is, Fez. I know. It'll get 2 secs. It'll be right. Very laggy. Yeah. We know. Hi guys, sorry I'm late. No worries, Hopes. No worries.
Welcome, Hope and Glory.
Stream settings. Come on, for crying out loud. Sort yourself out. Sorry about this, guys. It will sort itself out.
Mega Mind saying all good now.
Saying all good now. I've still got a red dot, a red alert, and a thing on YouTube at the moment, but we'll crack on. Everybody looks good again. Everybody's looking smooth. There we go. Green light. We're good.
Green light. Green light.
We're all good. Seems to be okay now. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. For some reason, my internet just decided to drop out there for a moment. Johnny Blade, in my opinion, the daily intel grind is killing the game. It's definitely starting to take its toll on a lot of people. Hank P, ain't technology great? I know, right? Couple of £1,000 setup and it can't stream smooth because my internet. It's pathetic. But yeah, you're right. I think Intel is starting to take its toll now on a lot of people. And a lot of casual task forces are really struggling, especially the ones who don't have dumper accounts, alt accounts, friends in the community who can dump for them and things like that, you know? It's going to be tough.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I know, like, Martin can obviously relate because we're in Sugarship. And, like, you know, for players that are in, you know, active, you know, 50-man task forces, it's not very hard for the most part, you know, for us to get the intel to run the daily operations. I think in general it comes down to a few things. First thing, Thursdays are always a killer. Why? Because of Gearhart. Why we don't get intel yet for War Factory, I have no idea, but maybe eventually. The last week of Warships, because of the fact that a lot of players do really, really well, and then they park, and then that's, you know, three intel a day that are not being pulled in from Warships, and then last week of Warships going into the Void Week, or the week off, no intel from Warships at all. A lot of players actually play less, you know, they take a little time off from the game because they're really only in it for Warships, or at least, you know, in Sugarship. So, yeah, last week of Warships leading into the Void Week, and then Thursdays, without a doubt, are probably the biggest killers when it does come to intel. And then you get to a Mega Crowd weekend, you know, there's so much intel, you don't even know what to do with it. So it's very unbalanced, if anything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for definitely. I think that's one of the main problems is a lot of people then perceive the game as being dead or dying because it's always in that last week of Warships where a lot of people are starting to park. There's not as much intel coming in from there. People then are taking time off the game, so they're not raiding on the map either. So then that you know reduces intel again, and then people get that feeling of, oh, you know, this game's crap. This game's dying because, you know, but in a few days' time, we'll have so much intel that even the teams that are, you know, struggling the absolute most will have so much intel coming out their ears that they won't know what to do with it. And they've got to sabotage it, and they've got to dump it in other task forces and all that sort of thing. Because Crab drops in at the start, you know, at the end of the month, and you get thousands of intel from that. And then Warship starts immediately after that, and you get all of your rank chests at the start of the season from that as well, plus 3 per day from 3 or 4 from, you know, the time chests and stuff a day. So there's loads of intel like all grouped together. It's sort of like in 1 week of the month, and then that slowly but surely gets whittled down. You know, as the weeks go on, as the season progresses, less and less players are playing, and the intel slows down so much so that it actually stops in some people's teams. You know, where is that comment?
Johnny Blades made a few comments, especially teams that are long-term players who are on the verge of retirement. That grind pushes them over the edge. Yep. He then went on to say maybe a offer intel in trader crates, or as a reward for killing an operation, or dive sites even.
Yeah, do we not get intel? Do we not get intel from trader crates?
No. We get it from Warship crates.
Oh, no.
It's Warship crates you get.
Warship crates.
Mixing up the only freaking crates in the game. All right.
Yeah.
And just want to give a shout out to Hope and Glory there. Is this a spot, the odd one out? I'm sorry I'm not wearing red, okay? I clearly missed the memo. And RTT, good morning, sunshine. Good to see you too.
What's up, RTT? To answer your question is, yeah, he can see the chat. He's just ignoring you. In your mind.
I couldn't see his message. I looked back and I couldn't see what he'd asked. Anywhere.
He said, hey, Uncle BBTFRG, can you see the chat? I think he's just talking about the chat.
Yeah, I can see the chat, but I was rolling back to see what he'd said. But I can't see. I've not been able to see anything from him. So maybe I know I can't.
Fair enough. So yeah, I think, like I said, Intel needs, I think, obviously Thursdays just suck. And it's about goddamn time they added Intel to War Factory.
We get intel on Hammerman. There's seven fleets of Hammerman. You get one intel per fleet.
Exactly.
You know,
on War Factory, they should.
Yeah.
If you solo it, you should get 5 intel. If you do it in 2 hits, you should get 4 intel. If you do it in 3 hits, you should get 2 intel. If you do it in 4 hits, you get 1 intel. And if you have to use all 5 hits or whatever it is, then you get none. You know, I think that's a good way to encourage people to actually do War Factory for a start. But then two, to get better and do it in the most efficient way to get the most intel from it. I think that's a good way of encouraging some play on the War Factory as well.
You know what? See, that's even more difficult than what I would have just suggested, because there's seven thresholds in War Factory, right? I just would have been like throwing intel on each threshold of
course,
well,
there you go. There you
make
go.
it that easier.
On each rewards threshold, add an intel. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Why make it complicated, Sharpie? Just do it like that.
But I mean, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why is Thursday? Like, what is it about Gearhart that is just like no intel? Like, if we had a backstory of Gearhart, and maybe like just she had a pure hatred for intel, and there was just some reason why she refused to give intel, maybe I would be like, okay, this makes a little bit more sense. We got some Boom Beach lore, we got a backstory to it. But it's just straight up Gearhart like refusing to give intel. When you look at any other day of the week, whether we're dealing with Dr. Terror or our good old friend Hammerman on Mondays, we get intel. So why Thursdays? Why no intel? I mean, maybe this is a question that will never be answered.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever get an answer. Megamind says removing the limit on intel storage would solve all of the problems. I think it would be nice, but
that's the answer for me. Simple, easy, sweet.
You think? Do you not think that do you not think that invites, from like Supercell's point of view, they got to, not encourage certain behavior in the community? Do you not think that just, people end up selling like 1,000 intel for $20 or whatever?
Yeah, I suppose.
I like that idea. I'm just gonna give you a crazy example here. You go to a competitive 50-man task force that's in like the top 10. And you take away that intel cap, I kid you not, they're pulling in like 30,000 intel just in that weekend.
Yeah.
That's a random number, give or take, okay?
There's actually another reason why having no cap wouldn't work. It's because people would just fill up, just rinse it full of intel and then just use it for sabos.
They would probably be able to get away with almost sabotaging an entire operation.
Entire operation.
That's fair enough.
Well, maybe not an entire one, but they'd beat it down. I mean, they beat it down pretty good, anyways.
Yeah.
It's open to too much exploitation, isn't it?
Anyone going to point out that Supercell forgot to increase the intel cap? I think that for me is an answer. Is increasing the cap for 5, 10.
I suppose that would
double it. Just double it for each size, double it for each size as a start, and then adjust the drop rates. Let's have it, then double the drop rates. Double the caps, double the storage size.
How much intel does the average task force sabotage over Crab Weekend and the start of Warships?
Well, in Sugar Ship, Martin, I'm pretty sure it's only Crab Weekend where we're sabotaging.
So if all of that intel that was sabotaged could be saved because your cap limit was 200, 300, 400 higher.
Put a cap on sabos. Just the point. Yeah, put a cap on sabos would nerf that. It's interesting.
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever heard that recommendation before. No. Cap the sabotages.
Cap the sabos. You could cap the sabos at like 15, 20 sabos or whatever. That's a good point.
Because the intel does go up, obviously. Like, this is old news. Everybody knows that, every time you sabotage. Is there a pattern to it? Like, does it go up like 5, 10, 50? Like, I've never actually paid attention.
I think it adds 3 or 5 each time you do it, I think.
I thought it adds 3.
Yeah, I think it adds 3. Every time you do it, it costs you 3 more than the time before. Do we know if Supercell could implement these ideas? If yes, would they? No. This is purely hypothetical, But who's to say that we don't inspire one of the devs with the conversation? That's kind of the point, But like I said, we're also here to look at solutions that the community can take on board and do without needing the devs to make changes to the actual game. Things, behaviors and routines, statue changes.
Like put
some ice down, chat. But we're looking at other solutions as well. We have the same intel cap as when Massive Attack was the highest op. Exactly, that's what I mean. The intel cap has never changed. The drop rates have never changed. We've got a whole bunch of new operations. The game's a lot more offensively overpowered now than what it was back then.
So going back to when Massive Attack was the hardest operation in Boom Beach, I believe for a 50-man task force, 1,000 intel is the cap.
Yep.
Yeah. 50,
okay.
Yeah.
So then from Massive Attack, we've gone to Forlorn Hope. Cap was still at 1,000, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Now from Forlorn Hope, we've just opened up Duplexity. Our cap is still at 1,000.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, there should have at least been some sort of buffer there, 200 extra intel or something, maybe 1,500 a day once you get to Duplexity, or just I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you guys. Intel cap should have been increased after the introduction of Forlorn Hope and Duplexity.
Flint says lowering op intel amounts would really help. Maybe that is an easy fix. Reducing the cost of ops. Would that sort of put an end to it just by reducing the price of operations, do you think?
Less intel to start operations would mean more intel to bank. That would be a very easy fix. I don't think they would do that, but no. it is a solution.
I think maybe doing that and then doing something else to encourage people to map clear. Maybe, I don't know.
Hegmeister says that Duplexity doesn't cost that much more than Massive Attack. How much more does anybody do? Kegmeister, do you know how much more intel it is? Sorry.
I can have a look at that. I've got that.
Mr. Dole, cap means the capacity, the max capacity of intel a task force can pull in per day. So when we say the cap, the intel, that means like, a 50-man task force can only pull in 1,000 intel a day.
Okay,
and I
so
know that
Duplexity costs 715 intel in a 50-man, and Forlorn Hope is 682. Massive Attack is 627.
Okay, I kind of agree with Kegmeister on that then. It's like 40 intel from second hardest to hardest. That's not that much of a jump.
No. Stops at a certain...
What size task force is that in?
That's for a 50-man.
Yeah, sorry.
So that's less than one intel.
A lot of this is referred to a 50.
Each.
Sorry?
It is cheaper.
That's less than one intel each.
Yeah.
Per person?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's
making the jump, yes.
Mm-hmm. That's all you need is an extra. Each base needs to defend. Well, not each base, but 90% of your bases in your task force need to defend one attack, and there you've got your extra 40 intel.
Yeah, true.
That's another thing. Out of curiosity, how many of the people in chat right now run the intel shield?
I don't think I don't think that can be relied on.
It
no,
does. I don't know about you guys, and like maybe this is where the strategist achievement comes into play. But like I know having the shield on my accounts, I literally hit that achievement. I don't know what the average time it takes, but I still have one account that doesn't have it, and all my other accounts have it. And the account that I don't have it on, I don't have the shield on it. So I don't know if that's just maybe superstition.
I know from running Facebook, I know a lot of people, especially all offensive players, absolutely struggle like crazy getting the Strat Award. Like crazy to get that.
But even when you have the shield, and if one player is going like hard on drops, I mean, you can only max out on 5 intel a day from that person dropping, and then it's just diamonds.
It's 4 intel period. Like, it's not per day, it's 4 intel each, unless there's a maintenance break, or they raid you and spawn you again, or they...
then I'm incorrect on that. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thanks for correcting that.
It is 4 intel per day from an attacker, unless there's a maintenance break, then you can get another 4, or an update or whatever. But yeah, diamonds are unlimited. But
that's what I meant to say. Then the diamonds were unlimited.
The Strat Award is really good for getting that little bit of intel, and it's been quite a recent sort of tradition for people who are spawning each other and finding the shields to do the Strat Award. That was kind of born on sort of BBTFRG Facebook and Hopper Network.
That was me and you. That was when you appeared on my map not long after I joined.
Yeah, you got my Strat Award, and it sort of took off from there. But people then started doing it for each other, and it's sort of become more of a tradition with the shields more recently. Go on.
The thing is, though, this isn't the who's. It's not about It's the amount of people that have it.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a lot of people in the community through looking at bases, mostly via Warship, pressing the wrong button and ending up on their home base, who are members of the community who aren't rocking the Intel Shield. Yeah. Now, I wonder how many people there are. How many people are you getting on your base? Do you get on your base with an English or a Western spelt name? And they could be part of the community, but they just don't want to do it. They can't be bothered to do it. They know about it, but for whatever reason, they don't want to conform to the Strat Award. They don't put it on their base. Now, if all you do is dump all of your troops twice and kill them all twice, then you've given them the most amount of intel you can give them. That's 4 intel. And if there were a lot more people doing that, because everyone was rocking the shield... It's not about keeping them on your map for a long time and dropping hundreds of diamonds. That's not what it's about. It's about the amount of shields that spawn on your map.
I mean, the whole point of the shield originally was literally just sort of a high five between players in the community.
Yeah,
drop a few intel, and then you raided each other. It's the whole thing of keeping each other on maps and getting the strat thing is quite recent, and it's not actually officially part of the thing. So as you said, French.
It's not what the Intel Shield was. At the end of the day, it's been changed to the Community Shield. But when Spock invented it or came up with it, it was the Hopper Shield. Yeah. So for obvious reasons, it then became the Intel Shield.
I mean, Cyril, as you said, French community has a database that you can look up to see if the player has completed the achievement and requires, how many attacks they require, which is really cool. But that's a lot.
Really well organised.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And
Pang also brings up...
Millie and them guys, they absolutely smash it over on.
Hold on one sec.
I just want to mention
Captain Black. Sorry, Scully.
That's all right.
Captain Blackadder's just said that, and I don't know. Is that a genuine question, Blackie? What is the Intel Shield? Sorry if I'm stupid. Because if you're being serious, you absolutely prove my point.
Yeah, not enough people know.
Are you messing around? And this isn't. I'm not having a dig. I'm not having a go. This really backs up what I'm saying. Because I don't know about you guys, but to me, Captain Blackadder's a well-known member of the community. Certainly, but my streams, I've seen him on yours before, Scully, and I've seen him on Pete's before. So, yeah, basically, Johnny played driver dude. No clue what's going on here. You arrange your statues in a certain way.
I'm pulling the picture up now. 2 seconds.
Okay.
Well,
so
I just want to touch on what Captain Blackadder was saying there. I want to actually first off what Pang was saying. Pang is correct though, because the amount of times that I've just gone in to clear my map without scouting, and then like halfway through the attack, or by the time I finish the attack, I'm like, holy crap, this player has a shield. Same. But going back to what Captain Blackadder said, what is the Intel Shield? No, not a stupid question. The Intel Shield's been around. Like, I've been playing Boom Beach now, I think most of us, like 9 years. I've gotten into Telegram like 2 years into playing, and I remember hearing about the Shield like 6 years ago in Telegram.
Yeah.
So this is not old. This is not new. Like, it's
been around for years and years.
The Shield has been around for a very long time.
As long as the community's been around, the Shield's been a part of it.
Yeah,
but if players have never heard of it, then that's only because
it's not promoted. It's not promoted very much. It's only talked about between the people who knew about it. But yeah, if you put your statues in that shape, when other players find you, they'll drop you intel and diamonds. That's the long.
Well, that's how it's supposed to go.
It started.
It's supposed to go. Some players will not. Some players don't recognize it and don't respect it, and you'll get hit. I mean, not every player is going to drop intel for you.
The intel and diamond dumps are very, very rare. Unless you're at super high VP, the matchmaking pool of say if you're below 1,000 VP, the matchmaking pool probably has millions of players that are in that pool, in that VP range.
It did start for hoppers,
and there's maybe 1,000 at most, 2,000 at most that know about the shield and what it is. So the actual chances of being spawned on somebody's map who knows what it is really slim.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, Blackadder said that. I've never. Sorry.
No greens or blues allowed in the shield bases. Yeah, see, that's the point. Back in the day, it was the hopper. Yeah, it was the hopper shield back in the day, which was all offensive. It was about saying thanks to hoppers, blah blah blah. It got changed. The people who invented it, like Spock, changed it to the community shield and let anybody use it, and you can have any statues in it. That's how it works now. Anybody can have it. It doesn't matter what statues you use. You can use green. All ice. We've seen all ice ones. We've seen all green ones. It's up to you. It's up to you if you recognize it and want to dump to it. But the point is, no matter what statues you have, you can use the shield, and people will drop for you.
It's funny you mention that though, because a lot of players, it's like Megamind just said straight up, no green or blues allowed in a shielded base. I've also now I see a shield. I'll do a couple drops, but before. That was my mindset. I was like, a shield is red and purple. If you've got blue and green in there, you're not getting a drop from me. Don't ask me why. It was just, maybe it was that Hopper mindset.
It was just the mindset.
I can tell you exactly. No, I can tell you exactly why. Like you said, it's the mindset, but it's because you're playing the game competitively.
Yeah.
You're not as much about the community because of what Supercell has done with the game. We have now kind of become about as much about the community as the competitiveness of the game, and now we're prepared to say, look, we're going to help. Let's find a way to help each other out.
It's about everyone the community.
Everyone drop to everyone, because we're all struggling for intel. It costs you nothing in troops because you just load a couple of boats of warriors and kill them off. You're going to make that.
You can go rifleman if you want to save on even more gold.
Yeah.
I'll use warriors though. Yeah,
Kay's just in there. I don't care what statues or even mines they use. Kay's the shield maiden. Kay's dropped to more people's shields than absolutely anybody else. I don't care who you are and how many you've done. Kay has done more. Absolute facts.
I wouldn't argue with that.
Right. She's known as the shield maiden in BBTFRG. She's dropped to literally everybody.
Did you say the shield maiden in Boom Beach?
She's the shield maiden. She's the shield maiden of Boom Beach.
Kay, you rock. You absolutely rock.
She literally like every single day without fail, she would spawn somebody and do drop. Yeah. And she would.
I literally just picture Kay going shield wall and just literally raining intel on everybody.
We wish. Right. So a minute ago, I asked Captain Blackadder if he was being serious. And I've seen a couple of messages now come through. He says, I've never heard of it, and I've played for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then a little bit further down, he says, I see that on your baseball, Aaron, but I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And how many other Blackadders are there out there who are
that's the point.
Entrenched in the community?
Well, here's another thing. Is Captain Blackadder, like, this might sound silly, but is Captain Blackadder on the BBTFRG Facebook? Because I have seen that shield picture on the BBTFRG Facebook multiple times. So again, it has to also do with branching outside of the game, getting involved with the community. Yes,
it's not promoted enough. That's the problem.
When that shield comes up on BBTFRG, 99 times out of 100, it is somebody asking somebody else if they've got strat.
Or if they want.
50% of the time it's asking someone if they've got the strat award, and the other 50% of the time it's somebody asking if they haven't got telling them thank you for the dumps.
And then the rest, any other time, it's, are you here? Or thank you for the drops.
Yeah.
People saying thanks for the drops, or it's.
There's no mention of its origin, of its roots. The fact that it is an intel, it's a doffing your cap to another member of the community. Just like motorcyclists all nod to each other when they pass each other on the road.
That's it.
That's what it was designed for in the first place. Well, this whole thing about the Strat Award is.
The Strat Award would have to have come after
that's exactly it, Cap.
With the Intel Shield, because what Surreal just said right there, and Surreal's an OG, he's he's an original gangster in this community. Never heard of the Intel Shield, always the Hopper Shield. And again, touching on what Aaron and Martin was first created for the Hoppers to recognize each other, and then it just evolved. It evolved from that moment to.
It was originally started on Hopper Network, and it was the Hoppers that used it, so that people, when they spawned them, they could say thanks for hopping and just give them a few intel, a few diamonds or whatever. Yeah, because they weren't in the task forces to get the diamonds from the op rewards. People could donate them diamonds for hopping. Yeah, that was how it started originally. And then
giving back to the Hoppers if you spawned them on your map.
As time went on, Spock, it was Spock, the person who started the shield in the first place. It was his design, his idea to start with. He's the one who then changed it to the Intel shield or the community shield. He's the one who changed it and said, he said that because in fact, if you want to get really particular about it, it went from being the Hopper Shield to being the English speaking VP pushers official community symbol. It was them. That's when we started seeing it on like the global leaderboard and stuff.
Is that because the French used the F with their shields, the Russians used the E?
That's right.
And
that's right. He then said that the English speaking VP pushing community could use it as their official thing, because originally they used to use the snowflake. The real old school players will remember the snowflake symbol. That was originally the English VP pushers community symbol with their statues. Spock then said that they could use the shield because it was more recognizable. So they took it over. And then eventually, as time went on, he said, you know what? Anybody can use it. Any statues can be used in it. It's just now the English speaking community, the entire English speaking community, community symbol. That's what it is now. It's evolved from what it was originally, being very exclusive with just hoppers, to being used by anybody. But even still.
Okay, so do we extend that then?
To extend what?
Yes.
Extend the shield. And we should be promoting. So if the F appears, then we should all be dropping to the F.
I don't. I'm sorry.
I don't. I do. Because
I still crush everybody unless I personally know them or I see the shield.
I know a lot of the F players from Facebook, the Boom Beach Francophone Facebook group. That's where the F comes from. It's their groups. We know them really well. So I dropped all the Fs because I know a lot of them from Facebook. But even so, though, the Intel Shield, it doesn't bring in enough Intel daily to be, an answer to Intel issues,
My point is that if there were a lot more people out there who we could get rocking it, it might make an amount of difference. Yeah, but another point that's been raised whilst we've been talking about this shield is the fact that how many people... Well, no, we've already established this. What do you do when you raid? You go on the base, you launch 6 Seekers, you force close. How many of us actually stop to look and see if it's even got a shield nowadays? So
I'm guilty of that as well. I think Pang was the one that mentioned that. Like,
I saw it in the chat.
I've beat my fellow shield players without even dropping the intel or the diamonds.
We've had a few.
I'm on my main account, Skull Crusher, right now, and I'm just looking through my log here. Going back the last 2 days and 14 hours, I don't have a single drop.
No. That's what I mean. You can go months and months and months and months and months without.
I'll get a few a week though.
The average player will go months and months and months and months and months, years even, without ever getting a drop. Some players never get a drop. Period. But the more VP you have, the smaller the matchmaking pool gets. So the chances of encountering one another increases. But it's definitely not something that you're going to get intel with every day, or even every week, or even every month. I mean,
but you do have a higher chance of being recognized having higher VP. Using the shield.
More VP that changes. But for the average player who's like, between 400 and 800 or 400 and between 500 and 1,000 VP, those players
that sounds about average.
Those players right there will spend, they might get one drop in a year.
Whilst we're just on the subject
lucky,
While we're on the subject of shields, I just want to give another massive shout out to Only Me. I reckon I've been on his map for about 3 years, coming up 3 years. And if that guy has dropped me 10,000 diamonds, I wouldn't be surprised.
Nice.
Wow.
Do you remember when we had each other on our maps? We dropped hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
We dropped hundreds and hundreds to each other, didn't we?
Yeah, but I say I've been on his map. I reckon it's got to be 2 years, possibly as much as 3 years. And the amount of diamonds that he's dropped me is just rude. Absolutely rude.
See, Kay's just said around 900 is the biggest VP pool. So yeah, see 900 VP and up, you've got a better chance of actually getting something from it, I think.
And Aaron, another funny thing about that is this is why, like, us being streamers and content creators, we have to be nice to everybody in the community, because the last thing you want to do is have somebody spawn in your map that you've caused a problem with, or maybe you have issues with, and then just right there to stream snipe you when you're live. I'm kidding. It's not that it happens, but that's always a nightmare in the back of my head, is just somebody constantly attacking me when I'm live. So that's why it's like, just be nice to everybody.
Yeah, not that I know anybody who would do that sort of thing.
Oh, not at all, not at all.
None. Can't think of a single name. Will they fix something if we ask? No, unlikely. Well, I say it's unlikely, but we are due an update like any day, basically any day. So.
Oh, I think that's a bit misleading. Any
It
day
might
is
be,
a bit.
we're due an update in a minute. We're due an update in a minute. By the end of the year, in a minute.
Soon.
I was going to say, hopefully by the end of the year.
Hopefully by the end of the year, we should get an update. Hopefully. So we'll see what comes in that. They know that, the Intel thing is a problem. So if they're going to do something about it, it'll be in this update. And if they don't do something about it, then I don't think they'll ever do anything about it. That's my sort of opinion on it.
But, no, that's a pretty good opinion, and I would have to agree with you on that too.
Going forward, like, all you can do really to maximize your intel right now, if you don't want to go down the ICE route, that's fine. I get that, but you should. But
ICE.
The other option is play like a VP pusher. And that's keep your map completely clear as much of the day as you possibly can. Keep the daily event on your map, but clear everything else that spawns as if you were VP pushing. Get your VP up, which will help, because the more VP you have, the more times a day you'll get raided, the more times you'll get that little bit of defensive intel, whether you use ICE or not. You also get that extra intel from the daily chest and VP chest for being a higher VP. But yeah, increasing the amount of spawns you get per day as well is eking out maybe 1 or 2 extra intel a day, perhaps. Beyond that, there isn't much else anybody can do, is there, fellas? That's kind of the options, really. VP push and ICE.
I hate to say it, like if you're at a point where you're in a task force and your TF is struggling that hard and you guys can't start your daily ops, honestly, go find another active task force or go merge with it. Like if you're a 5 or a 10, go find another 5 or a 10. And I know it sounds silly, but it's a lot easier than you think, especially if through Telegram, through BBTFRG Facebook. You will be able to find other people in the same position. And I've seen it done before. Merge 2 TFs together, bring 2 bands of players together.
There is that as an option as well. Going to a new team. I mean, there are lots of teams out there that are like pure casuals, which means they've got players in there that aren't pulling their weight. But there's also a lot of teams out there that won't have, even though they play casual, they still won't have people in there who are not pulling their weight. So if you're in a position, if you're in a task force and you're thinking this person or that person isn't pulling their weight and it's starting to annoy you, there are thousands of task forces out there that will be more than happy to take you on and be thankful of someone who's passionate and gets their daily share.
Speaking of passionate, check out Passionate Chess Player's comment.
Having only one builder slows down the progress of the game a lot for free-to-play players. Also, why do you have to pay $5 for the builder per month? Why not a one-time payment and get it permanent? That's a good question, but the superstars are business at the end of the day. They got to make money.
There we go.
That's it as far as I'm concerned. They need to make money, and Boom Beach just doesn't have enough ways of making the money. So
wait a minute. I think the reason Passionate Chess Player might be a Clash of Clans player. Don't you once you get the extra builder in Clash of Clans, isn't it with you forever?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so. Yeah, all right. So it just pretty much bring over that concept.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, so Supercell gets more money. Exactly, Surreal.
Yeah. I don't steal my coins for Candy McNuggets. Donate all my coins for Candy's McNuggets. But beyond that, there isn't really much else you can do, to be fair. The only other thing is, step down operation levels for a few days, build up a good bank of intel, and then do higher level stuff for as long as you can, then drop down maybe and bank it out. That's, beyond that, there isn't really anything else you can do to increase your intel.
You've covered.
Anybody else in
the
the chat got any suggestions?
I think you've covered some of the main ones.
I mean, as far as that there in itself is part of the problem, isn't it? That there are only 2 ways to earn intel. You look at the ways to earn diamonds. You look at the ways to earn shards, proto pieces, resources. It comes from everywhere. I think they kind of acknowledged that there was a problem when they put a intel on warships. You know, every chest you get on warships, whether it's rank or timed, you get 1 intel.
Glory.
That's another point is, you know, there's a lot of players out there, especially in casual task forces, who don't like warships. So they don't play it. They don't even do it for the daily chest just to get that extra intel. And then they'll sit there and moan about intel because they can't do daily ops. But they're not taking every opportunity. I think a lot of people have got to own their own, you know, shortcomings in a way. Intel values.
I think just very, very quickly, if you collected your daily chests and played all 21 days, assuming that you ranked up maybe 10 ranks just by natural star inflation, do you reckon 10 ranks over 21 days is unfair?
That's about right, I think. For casuals, just collecting chests. It's fair.
Then you'd collect 73 intel. So you say 63 to 73 intel. If you didn't rank up at all, you'd still collect 63 intel. Well, 64 actually, because you'd start 4 of 4. But yeah, you could just collect 64 intel alone But then you look at this season, for example, how hard it's been to collect ERs at 2 ER now.
Yeah.
So what incentive is there for that casual warships player who doesn't really enjoy it?
Yeah, you say about that 70 intel. That's more intel than what a lot of people get a week as it is.
That's over the season.
Yeah, I'm saying. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm thinking of a week. Yeah.
But I mean, even still, if you multiplied that up by a 10-man task force where nobody's doing it, that's another 730 intel.
True.
That's a lot of intel. Yeah.
True.
You know, if you said there's a couple of people in there, so 8 people aren't doing it, that's still 600 intel.
So do you think there's enough intel in the game, like, available to players if they choose to get it or not? Do you think there's enough intel available for a 10-man team to do dead end or even deep cut daily without struggling? If the 10-man team is, you know, grinding warships for the intel,
yes, I do, without a shadow of a doubt.
At say 1,000 or 1,100 VP.
Everyone's got to be active, because I'm in a 10-man task force where my OG21, where not everyone is active in warships, so we're not pulling in that 3 a day from everybody, and we do not run dead end or deep cut on the daily. It's more of like I said earlier, choke point or stronghold. But if everybody was playing warships just to get those intel, if everybody was clearing their map at least once a day, getting that daily chest as well, relying on a couple from that defensive intel as well, it can be done. But that's the problem. I shouldn't say that's the problem. You need everybody on the same page. Everybody has to be just as committed in your task force. And there's always players that are going to pull way more weight than the majority. And then it's almost like you get to a civil war in the TF where, I mean, it's not so bad now, but back in the day when I used to play, holy crap, you're in a task force and so-and-so is pulling in this much intel and this person's not pulling in intel. Oh yeah, you would hear about it in the TF chat. But yeah, now it's a little bit more relaxed, not as competitive. But yeah, I mean, maybe get your task force together in like a Telegram or a Discord group and just, or whatever, and just, make sure you're all on the same page. That's if everybody is as committed, to running dead end on the daily.
True.
I don't know if you want to take it that far, but
Kay's brought everything up saying, no, I don't, because folks need holidays, sick days, or just time out. It can feel like a job sometimes. Which is fair.
Absolutely.
Not everybody is gonna, in every task force is gonna grind it out. But I think what we're saying is that there's the potential there to have more than enough intel that you need if X, Y, and Z is met. If everybody in the task force is pulling their weight and not slacking on this and that. That potentially there's enough intel there for any team to do the operation that they want. At the level they want, do it daily.
I think there are limits. I don't think that, like a 10-man, for example, I think its realistic intel limit would be deep cut. After deep cut, you'd have to bring in dumpers.
You think?
If you wanted to do massive attack or full-on hope as a 10-man, I think you'd have to bring in dumpers. I don't think 10 men could collect that much intel. But yeah, 10 men doing act. I mean, I've seen
wet entrance.
I've collected 25 intel a day for a period of time.
Yeah.
If you did that daily, day in, day out, that's 250 intel a day.
Finally,
a little bit more on Mondays.
He
literally
literally has been like circling me for the last like 5 minutes. He's like, he doesn't hear me talking. He's getting his butt in my face. And he's like, what's going on? Right.
That's the issue. Not everyone plays warships. Yeah, I think that's a fair point as well. I think that's a factor. But I don't know. Maybe, hopefully, Supercell will see this and somebody will take some notes. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, hopefully it's already been dealt with.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have to wait and see what comes in the update. And yeah, go from there. But yeah, you guys want to add anything else before we wrap, or do you think we covered it? Anybody else in chat want to bring anything else up while we're putting the world to rights?
Spread the shield.
Spread the shield, love. Yeah, everybody get a shield on your bases. Share it. Tell your task force about it.
Share the shield. Oh, share the shield and go back and watch the last 20 minutes, half an hour of Scully's stream from yesterday, because it was a riot. I was driving home from work. I couldn't see. I was laughing so much.
We definitely had some good times. But Aaron, I was just thinking about this, man. It might not be a bad idea to like do an in-depth video, like a history on the shield, and
yeah, we could do.
I'm just saying,
plug that in the boombox, maybe.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, like, that might be a great idea, for a video with regards to players like Captain Blackadder.
Yeah.
I think more 45s that have been playing this game for 8 years. And again, this is the first time that they've actually heard of the history and the backdrop.
People need to realise where its origins lie. It's not a strategist award participation trophy trigger thing. It's got much deeper meaning than that. And that's what, I think that's as a community, that is all we can do to help get more intel out. Everything else has got to be coded in the game, but we can do that. Go and tell your home task forces when you're hopping, when you just try and get the word out about
Cage nailed it. It's community, exactly. Right, well, I think that's pretty much covered it then, chat, for tonight. Thanks, Scully, for coming on, bro, as always.
No, this was great, man. I'm sorry that I had to, I wasn't able to meet the last one there, but
that was much my fault as anybody's.
No, definitely get back on track with Boom Talk here. But I think we had a good topic of conversation here, and I think a lot of people had some good input and insight on the topic as well. And there's a lot of different things that you guys can do out there if you are looking to increase your daily intel count, and everything from
there's a video idea, right? There's a
video idea.
Video's
a great idea. Put down some ice. Not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah, get some ice out there, chat. Ice booster right there. See.
Set up a good defensive layout to kill enough enemies to get defense on intel. Rock a shield, and make sure you're just clearing your map once a day. If you want to be serious about it, twice a day, but at least once a day.
Yeah.
I'm also going to be starting a GoFundMe page for helping Aaron see if we can crack his ice addiction. So look out for the details of that coming soon as well.
Whose content creator code do I add in the game? Skull Crusher or BBTFRG?
We are on the BBTFRG channel, so you want to make sure you are rocking the code BBTFRG, Mr. Passionate Chess Player.
Or Crusher, whichever one you can type faster. Right, guys.
Second account and rock both.
Yeah, true that. Second account and rock both. Exactly. You got it. Right, and chat, we are going to pull the plug there for tonight. I've streamed way too many hours today already.
Yeah, you've been slaying it recently, mate, boys.
Listen,
good job, guys.
Someone's noticed.
Someone's
noticed us putting in the extra work.
Boys, you both have been putting in the work. Honestly, I just want to say good job, guys. And even your sub count is going up too, man. Like you guys. By the way, make sure you guys are subbed to the BBTFRG. I think they're 3. I can see it on the screen, but they are 3 away from 6,100. So come on, guys.
I think we're actually over that. I think that widget's really slow for some reason.
Does it not populate when you get a new sub?
We are one person away from 6,100.
Oh, let's go, guys. Let's go.
One subscriber away.
That one of you in the chat, Who's subscribe now? Your name will come up on screen. Which one of you is it going to be? Becomes our 6,100th subscriber.
Cameron, I wish we had some information and news to give you on that, but unfortunately, we do not.
Yeah, nothing yet. Nothing yet.
Sorry.
Soon. Hopefully soon. But yeah, thanks,
Surely
guys.
there's someone out there who's not subbed who can get their name in.
There's loads of you out there that aren't subbed. The analytics don't lie. Like
don't actually.
Something like 65-70% of people who watch our videos aren't subscribed. It's just crazy.
You know what's funny, Aaron? It's like that for a majority of channels. Like,
I know
it's the same. It's the same for me. I think I'm like 68 or like 65 or 68% unsubscribed, and then like 30-35 subscribed.
So infuriating. Like, you think if everybody just subscribed, we'd be like 10K easy, you know?
the life and wonders and worries of a content creator.
You know it.
Jess, you're not on your own, brother.
Yeah, true that. Right then, guys, like I said, we will see you guys tomorrow. I'll be back with some warships for you tomorrow, I expect. But until then, smash the like, subscribe, code BBTFRG, go Scroll Crusher, all that. We will see you later. Peace! That'll do. I don't think there's anybody on to raid, but I will have a look. Who's live? Anybody? Mr. Olsen's live, so we're going to raid him. Chat, we're going to raid Mr. Olsen. Stay tuned, because here we go.